Seems like I was just talking to everybody yesterday, and Keeks was with me last week too, joining me again today. But another week is come and gone. It is officially fall. It's going to be October the next time we talk. Crazy how fast time flies. You know what? However, even though it's officially fall, the last few days didn't feel that way. Friday, I remember being on the water and it was in the 80s. It was warm. It was hot. It kind of felt nice. And now we're getting back to reality. If you look at the forecast this next week, it's gonna be cold. You can see we're wearing hoodies today. I had them on most of the day today on the water. Had them on yesterday morning for football. And if you look at this entire week, it's predicted to be in the 50s for highs. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna feel like fall. I'm gonna live in my hoodie. My Gale hoodie from Blackfish is gonna be my favorite piece of clothing this next week. Your soft shell apparel, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna see things get into fall patterns really fast. Speaking of which, the last week we did see more of a fall feel. I did not fish deep much at all the entire week. I caught a lot of fish in 3, 4, 5, 6 feet of water, some 7, 8 feet, but I really didn't move deep. And we started to catch more consistent, bigger fish. The schools of the 3-pounders, the 3.5-pounders, you're really meat and potato size fish in most of these lakes are sliding in. You're catching multiple in that size, which is super fun. The pike are starting to slide up. The muskies are chowing. We had multiple muskies show up. We had a muskie try to eat our bass. How cool would that be? Reeling a bass and a muskie tried to eat it. We had that happen. We had multiple muskies on. We had muskies get caught. So everything's starting to relocate shallow, and it's going to continue to follow that trend, especially this next week as we get cooler. Water temps are in the mid 60s still, so it kind of stalled out again. You can expect that when you get some 80-degree weather during the heat of the day. But you got to remember, there's not as much light as there was. If you've been outside by 7 o'clock at night, it's fairly dark, and not until 7 in the morning is it light. So even though it says 80 degrees, we're not seeing a rapid change in water temperature because most of the night, which is the majority of the day now, it's cool. It's in the 50s. It's even in the 40s, depending on where you're at. If you're in the northern part of the cities or up near Rush Lake area, you're dipping into the 40s. And this coming week, like I said, it's going to be cold. So how did we catch our fish? We destroyed fish this past week on the chatterbait. I've talked about the chatterbait a lot. It continues to catch fish, and it's been dominant this last week. We caught a bunch of fish on a swim jig, started to get some fish on a spinnerbait, but hands down that chatterbait was king. I know Jack's been rigging up a bunch of stuff. He's got a couple chatterbaits rigged up here. Benny's got a chatterbait rigged up. Keeks has been throwing a little bit of a chatterbait, teaching her to launch that bait out there and reel it in, right? Cast, and then just reel it in.
Yep.
And then what? When a fish bites, what do you do? Reel in, set the hook?
Yep.
Set the hook and then reel them in.
Yep.
Yes, that's awesome. So, what was that?
When my dad was gone, and when we were at a Gomez, when my dad was inside, I catch a bunch of fish with my bottles.
You did. You caught tons of fish. You're good at catching fish. I need to learn some tips from you. So chatterbaits are awesome. Swim jigs, like I said, the frog bite's starting to pick up. That's been super fun. A lot of fish, bass specifically. A lot of fish relating to the docks and inside docks. So this is that time of year where you don't just hit every dock. You fish the area in between the docks. My 2 biggest fish on my recent trip was in between docks, middle of the day, not under a dock, was in between the docks where the weed starts to lay down. There's some scum weed. You can kind of see the weeds. Things are starting to clear up a little bit, and we're fishing those areas. So don't be afraid to, don't just power fish the dock and then to the next dock. Fish in between the docks. You'll be surprised. So what I would do is I'd have what I'm going to fish the dock with, whether it's a wacky rig Kamita, whether it's a jig, and then I'm going to have a chatterbait or a swim jig laying down. So when I'm done dissecting the dock, I set that rod down, I grab more of a reaction bait like a chatterbait or a swim jig or a spinnerbait, and I cover water in between the docks, especially if there's a large stretch. It's amazing how many fish are up in that area, and they're not just relating to that dock. They're not just relating to that cover. Even if it's sunny, they're in between, moving around. You can see the bait fish jumping. If you reel a spinnerbait back to the boat right now, you're seeing minnows jumping everywhere, bluegills waking away from stuff. Everything's coming to that shallow water, and they're starting to feed. So it's super fun. I did not chase any panfish this last week. I did see the crappie anglers out there, and it seems like they were getting some fish on the immediate weed lines. But I do not have a phenomenal a crappie or bluegill pattern for anybody right now. Yeah, babe. Yeah, you want to say something? Callie's got something important to say.
We just woke up and we're making a fishing video.
Yeah. You took a nap. So she's got her leotard and her tutu on. She's doing gymnastics, so she pretty much lives in that or sleeps in that. Anyone that has daughters knows what I'm talking about. But so a lot of fun patterns and ways to fish right now. A lot of fishy things. I caught fish on the finesse jig. We caught fish on the rattling AT jig. So jig fishing is great too. You can catch fish, and you don't need to really cover a lot of water or make long casts. You can just pitch it in the pockets and be very effective. So really good bass bait right now. Fun to be out there. You're gonna have to dress warm this week. I apologize in advance for the weather. We're gonna get a harsh dose of reality. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be 30 degrees when we wake up in the mornings some of these days, and it's not gonna get above mid to low 50s. So get accustomed to that. It's going to be cold on the water. It just is what it is. This is a big reason that I turn to a chatterbait and spinnerbait, not only because it works, but it keeps you active. It keeps you moving. It keeps you focused. It keeps you motivated versus fishing really slow when it's 40 degrees outside and your hands get cold and your body gets cold. I'm staying active. I'm moving around. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm going to have my clients doing all week and chasing down some fish. So got a busy week ahead. We got multiple days in the water. We got some blackfish photo shoots coming up. We got a number of things. We're going to chase down some bites. I should have a pretty good pattern for you. I got a bunch of days on the water chasing down some fish here. And you want to show them? Callie's got a hook she wants to show you. I kind of figured that was going to happen. What do you got? What are we showing? What's new? What's new and hot? What should you maybe fishing right now, Keeks?
Well, I'm gonna be fishing right when we go somewhere. I'm gonna remember to bring grab
You showed them that one last week. So how about, ooh, I don't know. That's kind of cool. What else do you got? You got lots of stuff in your tackle box. Oh, that's kind of cool. What do you want to show them?
I'll show them this. I need to show them this.
Yeah, a little vibrating.
I'll show them both these.
Okay. You got crankbait. Ooh, shallow diving crankbait. That's a good one. Let me help you get that unhooked. All right, you want to hold it like this?
Actually, I'm going to this.
Oh, a swim jig?
Yeah.
She's just showing a little wake bait, little shallow diving crankbait, wake bait.
You know,
Oh, and the all-terrain swim jig. You know what? I've caught a bunch of fish on that this week.
I never got a swim bait yet, and I'm going to try this out, see what I can catch, and maybe a big one.
I hope so.
And my dad got something that he's
Crankbait, shallow diving crankbait. Those are good right now too. You can definitely catch fish on crankbaits. You know, these are good, where the weeds are starting to lay down. You can see the weeds starting to break up, and you can actually start to fish some of these just subsurface crankbaits and get a bunch of fish to bite. All right, show them one more thing, and then we're probably gonna let everyone roll. You showed that last time too. You liked that crystallite jig.
I'm gonna show them all of
The
these.
swim bait heads.
I'm gonna show them all of these.
We'll show them one more. How about this one? This one's pretty cool. Can we show them this one? Just a really cool
No, Dad.
swim bait head.
I'll show them this,
All right, hurry up.
this one.
Okay. Should I show them that one? Okay, go show them that one, and then you can. Why don't you show them that one? Then you can say goodbye to everybody.
So, this is it. I'm gonna be going fishing for that, and you'll get like a little bait on here, so you can go fishing. And as you see, these are my favorite colors. Like pink, my favorite color. And bye.
See you next week. Go catch some fish. Stay warm. Welcome fall. Welcome October.